Take an unforgettable voyage behind the scenes and across the globe as you join the cast and crew of The Dawn Treader to explore the creativity that makes the world of Narnia come to life.
Shooting in Australia has been one of the delights of my career. It's a wonderful place to be on so many levels, but we have a spectacular crew, as good as anywhere in the world.
Pre-production here in Queensland, you know, working with the art department here and all the elements of the crew here. And then the shooting process has been like a dream.
It was just beautiful, unbelievable, like probably the most amazing place I've been.
Where in the blazes am I?
You're on the Dawn Treader, the finest ship in Narnia's navy.
Is it something I said?
As the director of the film, there are certain dramatic needs I have. With this particular film, I need different looks. It has so many different styles in it. It has scenes of high surrealism and comedy, and it has moments of high seriousness. And to create a tone that is consistent through all that is the biggest challenge. And I think what Barry and his crew are so brilliant at is the textures of it. You look at those sets, you look at those trees, you look at those rocks, and brother, I mean, the detail on them was astounding.
We get a chance to really expand our imaginations and really let it run wild, and that's what's happened with Narnia.
Bringing in a new production designer, and Barry sort of brought in a new sort of visual style as well, but at the same time they're very cognizant of what's come before. And in some ways this movie is ideally suited for that because you're exploring 7 different worlds that all have their own look.
This boat has to go from environment to environment to environment to environment. So it then came back to me to begin to explore the different environments and how we could put them on stage.
In the last film, you know, if we needed a mountain range or a gorge or a river, we'd go to a mountain range or a gorge or a river. On this film, if we need a mountain range or a gorge or a river, we build one on stage 7.
Everything in this movie, and I mean everything in this movie, is constructed. It was a huge undertaking.
The different sets on this one look really cool because they all look like completely different worlds. I mean, they are from completely different locations.
They do have this strange, some of them quirky, some of them dark and moody, some of them ethereal character to them.
Edmund, it looks like the water's actually moving.
How the children travel into Narnia is something I've always been interested in.
Lucy, to think...
It's some kind of trick.
In the book, they talk about this painting and the expanding frame, but as we got into the writing and development, it was kind of like, well, how can we make that exciting? And the idea that the room would actually fill up with water and then the room itself would disappear and they'd suddenly find themselves in this ocean created a really difficult technical challenge.
It was my room on top of a huge tank, and it was as if the room would submerge underneath the water, and this water would be pouring out of this painting and rising up, and it was a very difficult sequence to film, but very, very fun. The boat was a fantastically built set.
I remember we were driving up to it and seeing it was just incredible. It was so beautifully made and so incredible to think all the craftsmen who were working on it and, you know, the attention to detail that was spent on this.
To build a house might take a year, and these guys built something, you know, 15 times the size in 2 weeks, and it's just unbelievable.
I just didn't realise it would be so big. I mean, it's massive.
And you've also got the fact that it's been placed on a gimbal that's been specifically designed to be able to rock it around, and the amount of effort that's gone into that and the, you know, the mechanics of it is mind-blowing.
So it was magical, actually, to shoot on that set. You're surrounded by this beauty and this painstaking detail. You can kind of lose yourself in that world.
Some of the most amazing sets were the ones on the Magician's Island with the Magician's Garden and his library.
We built about 2,000 books for that set.
It was a real kind of magician's library. Every single book and every single little ornament and trinket, and it was just an incredible thing to set foot on and to be able to work on it.
With these words, your tongue must sow, for all around there to be snow.
It's been a great atmosphere from day one, frankly. When we were preparing it, I think we felt we were onto something. Once we started shooting, that feeling didn't go away. And added to it was a sense that we were all in this, we were all a family, and we were all working with each other to the same end.
legendary director Michael Apted goes on his first voyage to Narnia, along with an international cast and crew, to create his own vision of an enchanted journey aboard the Dawn Treader.
Action! Michael is just a master of performance, and it makes you really sort of emotionally tied to these characters.
You know, I have to make sure the characters make sense, make sure the relationships make sense, because you can't pull emotion out of the air. You know, there has to be some basis for it.
I think he was very successful in creating a greater arc for the characters throughout the story.
I'm not your subject.
You've been waiting for this, haven't you?
I've been immersed in these Narnia films for so long that I've known what Edmund is, really, because I've spent so long doing it.
Michael really understood that we knew the characters, and it was just amazing to feel comfortable with a new director. I could always say, Michael, what do you think, you know, should I be quite feminine with my fighting, or should I be quite rough with it? And he'd go, no, no, go for it, go for it.
Michael, I'm excited.
Truly, it's just terribly exciting.
He was very encouraging. He doesn't clutter you up with too many directions, and he really wanted to make sure that we really connected with the other actors.
On guard! Take your best shot. Is that it? Come on, boy. Focus. Yes.
Coming into this as the new kid, you know, I could really relate to his experience of coming into this new as well. As a director, really understands what you're trying to achieve as an actor, and particularly for all of us in more emotional scenes.
In terms of scope, it is the biggest film I've ever done, which for me is an interesting challenge. It means that I have more scope to move in. It's a genre I've never tried before, which is an element of fantasy, you know, a fantastical world.
Travelers of Narnia, welcome.
Michael is a seasoned director. His films really stand out.
It's been great to see how quickly and easily he's embraced what they want to create.
Let's play this again, play A again. I'm surrounded by brilliant people to do the visual effects, brilliant people to do the action. So I just had to really focus on what I knew I could do with it and focus on that and do that. And cut, very good.
Director Michael Apted has no shortage of fascinating creatures to explore during the travels of the Dawn Treader, and he's assembled a brilliant team of artists and technicians to help bring the new inhabitants of Narnia to life.
With the ambition of this kind of film in terms of vast numbers of visual effects, it's been a very difficult journey.
This voyage takes us through many adventures and many islands, and we meet so many different creatures.
They're gone.
What were those things?
Duffel pods.
Right, of course, silly me.
You couldn't make the movie of The Dawn Treader without the duffel pods.
And that was, for us, the big new design phase, trying to find what these duffel pods look like. They are kind of silly. You know, they're these small characters that have a monopod, one leg and a big giant foot.
I actually think that when C.S. Lewis created the duffel pods, it was one of the most creative moments of his life. They're absolutely hilarious.
The Naiads, they have more of a relationship with Lucy than anybody else. They're actual sort of people, but made out of water, and they send her messages and things like that. They're really interesting characters that none of us have seen. It's a really cool part of the film. It gives it that kind of magical appeal.
Onward ho!
The dragon, I think, is going to be amazing. When you create a creature which has already been done before, you have to put your own spin on it, and I think we have done that.
The dragon is an interesting character. He's a beautiful thing, an original thing, and to me that embodies everything that Narnia is.
Come on, let's meet our destiny. No fear, no retreat. For Narnia!
Our journey may be nearing the end, but there are so many stories in the land of Narnia waiting to be explored. So grab your passport and set sail with the crew of the Dawn Treader for a magical journey you'll never forget.
The Voyage of the Dawn Treader shows you so much more of where Narnia comes from. That whole world is magical.
The look of this movie is absolutely extraordinary. It's going to be one of its most lasting impressions.
It's just more incredible than I could have ever imagined it.
I hope it's a good adventure. I hope it's moving. I hope I have 2 good hours of entertainment.
I have to be so thankful for this experience. I've really enjoyed it so much.
It's a 1 in a million chance, and it's just been, you know, the best months of my life.
I sometimes think I'm the luckiest person in my town, in England. You just get that feeling sometimes because you're just on top of the world.
You've got an extraordinary destiny, something greater than you could have imagined.
The Chronicles of Narnia, the voyage of the Dawn Treader.